And hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's Dave Bondy here. I hope all of you can hear me okay. And this is Keeping It Real, my edition of my show that I do on Thursday and Sunday, and trying to do variation of stories. I'm covering stories across the country, but I'm doing stories that you may not see. You won't see them on network news or, CNN or Fox. But there's a lot of stories that need to be out there that are not getting out there. And I was contacted by a bunch of people about the story that I'm having on tonight. And it's really sad, and there's lots of levels to it. A young man critically injured and basically in a coma because of what happened over really just something innocuous, something really stupid that never should have happened. I'm going to talk to his dad. Oh, today is Wednesday. Yes, today is Wednesday, everybody. Usually I go live on Thursday, but I have an event I have to be at tomorrow. I'm actually throwing out the first pitch at the Great Lakes Loons game in honor of Alzheimer's Association. My mom passed away a year ago from Alzheimer's, so I'm part of that association. So let's get to our guest right here, because this is something you're going to want to listen to, and you're going to want to share this out with your friends as well. Joining me now, it says Collins Crew on there, but introduce yourself, sir. Who are you?
So my name is Clay Rogers. I am the father of 3 wonderful children, and my youngest, Colin Rogers, was dragged by a car 2.5 football fields 69 days ago. And it stemmed from 2 bullies picking on 2 of his friends. He intervened. The next day, they grabbed his arms, drug him down the road 855 feet at over 45 miles an hour for over 32 seconds. And
now
landed him in the hospital.
I want to explain for people, because they may not understand. You're not at home right now. You are actually at a hospital on the west side of the state, and that's your son in the background in a coma?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I wanted to get that out of the way so people understood what was happening. So sorry to interrupt you. My apologies.
No,
okay.
I'll run on all night long. So,
okay.
So you don't want to let me go at any kind of speed, because it won't ever stop.
I have a 10 and a 6-year-old. So explain once again, this was how many days ago and what happened?
69 days ago.
69 days ago.
Yep. 69 days ago, June 15th. On the day before, June 14th, 2 of Colin's friends these 2 boys had taken this vape pen from them. And the next day, they had agreed to give the vape pen back if the boys would give $20. And I don't know how Colin got involved. I know he wasn't there the day before because he was with me, but the next day he got involved in that scenario, and they gave him something that didn't work or something. And on video from the corner of the house, you could see Colin reach inside the door of the driver's window and grab for something. And then the car took off at full speed, and he was found 855 feet away, which is about the height of Rockefeller Center in New York, or the length of 2.5 football fields.
So he was hanging out of the car, the window, or
I honestly didn't see it. And the police, because obviously I'm sharing the story, which brought the 2 of us together.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to how he got from point A to point B. All I know is what the cops told me was his arm was in the window and the car took off. That's what they said. So I can only speculate on the rest, but I know because it was on video that it started at point A and ended at point B, and now we're here at, well, I guess this would be point D or E or something at this point.
So really over something
very trivial.
Very trivial. And there were 2 others. Were they friends of his, or like best friends, or just acquaintances? Or
they were friends of his. We live in the country. We live in a 1,100 person town, And, you know, there's not a lot to do there. So they would go to the park and hang out or stuff like that. They would go to each other's houses. Boys would come to my house and stuff like that. Um, I personally, I work quite a bit. So, you know, I'm working 16, 18 hours a day. So I'm not home a considerable amount except for the weekends and stuff. But he was, they seem to be normal boys. The two friends that were taken advantage of and bullied the day before, I haven't really talked it over with them. It has been about, I think today is the 69th day since the 15th. We post daily about it. It's one of the horrendous things. But I'll give you a little bit of timeline of what happened.
Yeah.
So at first I thought it was over computer parts because Colin is a computer builder. He's a programmer. He can type 120 words per minute. He's done a lot in his short 17 years on the planet. He's a very, very, I wouldn't say he's like a Rhodes Scholar or, a scientist or anything, but he's extremely intelligent, very smart, and could, formulate thoughts and stuff like that. A couple instances that he's done, things with me. So people would come over to the home and they would have him build computers for them.
Wow.
That was, he was an entrepreneurial, all of us, you and me, we're both entrepreneurs. We both do similar, even though different ends of the spectrum, media. Media is what we do.
Yeah. He sounds like a genius. I could never do what he did, like put together computers and computer coding and all that. I'd have no idea how to do that.
There's many things that he did that you and I could not do. How long have you been doing the YouTube?
It's been maybe 8 or 9 years, and I'm just starting to learn stuff about it.
Okay, so I've been doing YouTube for 6 years, but when I was doing YouTube for 4 years, when Colin was 15, I had 40,000 followers after 4 years. All right.
Wow.
Colin, after 4 months, had 87,000 followers.
Is it? Does he have?
He does gaming.
Gaming. Wow.
So Minecraft and Roblox and stuff like that.
This is really sad, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. But he has a bright future. He probably could have been whatever. I mean, he will. He's going to make it, and he's going to get out there. But my God, he's a genius in a way.
In some ways, yes, but very, very naive in other ways. I'm assuming that, given the circumstance of what happened to him, I'm assuming he was naive to think that these guys would grab him and drive away, or whatever.
Now, so they were friends, though, right?
Not the two in the automobile. Not that I'm aware of. They knew him, but I don't believe they were friends.
That's what I was wondering.
They were picking on two of his friends.
So when this incident happened, there were only Colin and then there were how many?
There were there was a total of 5 people involved. 6 people with Colin. 3 people in the car. Colin's 2 friends, and then Colin.
Okay, so some of them were out. Some of them were outside of the car, and then there were others. But okay, yes. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now. Okay.
Yep.
So what happened? I mean, that's the call you never want to get. My mom. I would never. I can't imagine. I have a 6 and a 10-year-old. And I dread that ever happening. Were you working, or what happened?
Yeah, it's my studio is over in Muskegon, Michigan, and we're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And it's about 50 minutes away. I'm very rarely in Grand Rapids, but this day I happened to be in Grand Rapids. So when I got the call, my wife is losing her mind. The police had told her that he was in a car accident. And he was at the children's hospital. So I rushed over there. I was there first. They didn't tell me anything. Then soon my wife came, and then the rest of the family came. And eventually the surgeon came in about 4 to 5 hours after we were there and told us that he had a really bad brain injury. It probably took ambulance. I haven't checked into this, but it probably took them 15 minutes to get to the location where he was at.
Oh,
and brain injuries are very important that they're taken care of immediately. But because they drove off, they drove off and left the scene of him laying in the ditch dying. He wasn't taken care of right away, but luckily there was a neighbor that seen the car speed by at full speed, and then he seen Colin in the ditch. So he immediately called 911. But he said when he went out there, he started crying. I mean, this guy, never met this guy. I went out and talked to him. I'll get into that in a little bit. But went out and talked to him, and he's crying. He's telling me about my son. He grabbed me, gave me a hug. I met him about 15 days after the circumstance. So, that wasn't right away. But back to the second day at the hospital, the police are interviewing us. They're telling us things. But I walk around like this daily. I came straight from work here. I'd be wearing my calling crew stuff. I do very well on my channel. I'm not looking for, it's not about that. It's about him.
Okay.
But the police are telling me that it was some kind of altercation about computer parts. And then the next day it became vape pens and actually started getting together what had happened. They had arrested the guys that had did it. They arrested 2 of them at first. Okay. Then they found out a couple days later that there was another one in the back seat. These are criminals. They're not necessarily, they're kids. They were 15, and 16 years old. The driver of the automobile was 16 years old. The passenger of the automobile was 15 years old. And the rear passenger, I believe he was 15 years old.
Let me ask you real quick. Did they actually leave the scene, like take off completely? They didn't come back.
Stop. No.
They didn't come back at all.
When they let him go, they kept going.
And they never came back.
No. It gets even crazier. So the cops arrest them. A couple days go by because they're building an investigation. They're doing stuff. The cops are doing stuff. They're like telling me how they're going to charge them. And he wants to charge them as adults. And I know nothing about any of this stuff. I live in a tiny bubble. I don't care if 1 million people a month watch my show. This bubble is small, brother. I'm telling you, I keep to myself. I don't watch YouTube. This is what I do every day. But it's tiny. So they're telling me how they're going to charge them and all of this other crap. And I'm like, okay, let's do it, because I'm angry. And then I'm angry that I find out that they're 15 and 16 years old because I know they're minors. I know minors do not get in the same trouble as adults. So I'm upset. I've got a video and I'm crying and I'm talking about how they're only going to go to jail till they're 18, maybe 20 if I'm lucky. I just could not believe it. I'm like, this is such horse crap.
Someone's asking in the comments, what were the charges when they ended up charging? What were they?
I put it out. I don't mean to be like not knowing. I know it's a question that I should know.
No, that's okay, because people in the comments are saying it should be attempted murder.
It really should be, but it boils down to, if you go and you rob a bank and you leave, you're still just as culpable if you're in that getaway car and you drive. It was fleeing the scene of a serious crime, using a motor vehicle to impair and disable something. I don't remember the exact charges that they brought them up with.
I wonder if that was a felony. I would hope it'd be. Well,
they are felonies. Yeah, they're very serious crimes. They're the thing right next to murder. I mean,
okay.
They're what they said that is if he would have passed away from his wounds, they would charge them with murder. There's no 2 ways about it. So one step below murder.
But they were charged. The prosecutor, they decided to charge them as juveniles.
Yeah, and they haven't changed that decision, which is really strange. And I went up. So so fast forward a couple days, you know, we're grieving. I'm making, you know, I'm talking about all this stuff and these emotions that I'm having and going through, and that's not really what I do. But fast forward 13 days after it happened, I went to the crime scene. Now, given I had not been to the crime scene, I had no idea. Really, I knew that he was grabbed. They kind of said that to me, but they didn't really explain it to me. They never have. They've never explained to me exactly what happened. But I went to the crime scene and I was like, oh my God, I knew where it started. Then this was the day that I met the neighbor that called 911. And I'm like, oh my God, this is freaking, I don't know how far this is, but this is freaking far. So I left. I had a busy day that day, but I left and blew everything off. I went to Harbor Freight. I bought a measuring, you know, a rolling measurer to measure out the distance from where the house was to where his body was found. And that's when I found out it was 855 feet. So then I make this explosive video that's like, that it's like 30 seconds long, but it really grabs you. Probably one of the best videos I ever made out of 1,000 that I've made. And I went to the prosecutor Friday. I got an appointment with the prosecuting attorney, Chris Becker, Kent County.
Okay.
And I go in there, and this guy is very standoffish with me. I had no idea. I mean, I didn't, the cops don't tell me anything because they know I'm blogging about this. They know that I'm telling this story.
Yeah.
They're not sharing nothing with me. I mean, they're making me FOIA everything, and then they won't answer my FOIAs.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. They're not really making you file FOIA.
Oh, like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's
something.
And they
don't answer them. I mean, they've never given me a FOIA request.
Okay.
Never once.
That's something they should do with the media, not the victim's father.
I would agree.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. It doesn't matter if you're telling everyone about the story. You have the right to know as the dad of what the hell happened. And oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know that it gets, well, Chris is probably the height of this story, but he's one of many facets of this story.
Oh my God.
So I go and meet Chris Becker Friday morning, and I said to my brother, I took my brother with me, and I said, you're gonna have to listen to him, because if he says anything, you know, my brain's gonna shut off, you know, if he says anything. And I go in there and I talk to him, and he's like, he says, you know, I'm sorry, let me stop.
No, go ahead.
I asked him, where are these guys? Where are these people? And he said, they're at home, I presume. And I'm like, they don't, I mean, did they make bail? He goes, oh, they don't have to have any bail. There's no bail for minors.
They were never, no, that's not necessarily true. They can be put in a juvenile facility. So they were never even lodged in a facility anywhere.
Not even for 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes. They're on video committing a very heinous crime that is destroying a young person's life. And let me say something too. I psychologically, for me, you got to understand, I'm not just telling you the good parts about my son. I could tell you 100,000 different ones. Yeah. This is not a thug, or if he was a shithead, I would be the first one to say, well, that was pretty damn dumb. I'm telling you, I'm that type of person but I raised good kids, you know, I mean, and I've got 3. Back to Chris though, he's telling me that they're never gonna serve any time whatsoever. And I'm like, what do you mean? Not even until they're 18. And when he said that, I kind of like shut down, but him and my brother are talking, and he's explaining that, you know, that he doesn't have the power to do this and doesn't have the power to do that. And then he said, if Colin dies, then they'll go to prison for murder. And he says, nah, because I probably couldn't prove intent. And I'm like, you mean to tell me, so he wouldn't tell me how it happened. They won't tell me exactly what happened. I said, you mean to tell me, so you got guys on a video, my son reaching his arm in the car taking off, and 855 feet, he's laying dead on the side of the road. But you couldn't prove intent. That really bothered me a great deal.
Yeah. Who's the prosecutor again? And is it Kent County? Who's the prosecutor?
Yeah, Kent County. His name is Chris Becker.
Okay. Wow. So
there's a little bit more to this.
Yeah.
So I'm a thinker. Okay. I contemplate. I feel very sorry for the adolescents that did this to my son, because I'm never going to harm them. But psychologically, probably not the guy you would want to be, because I am probably a psychopath to a certain extent. I don't know the exact definition, but I would say that I'm a thinker, and I'm going to make sure that every facet of their life that I'm there. I'm there some way. That's why we created all the stickers. That's why we created all the groups. That's why I posted 69 days in a row about his condition. I know they live in this community. I know that there's no way that 20,000 people are watching this story and that they do not have to see this.
Oh no, they're absolutely. So they've never served any time. Nope. I don't know how the juvenile system works. I don't even know, is there even a trial? Did they explain how that works? I should know. I've worked in news for 25 years, but I really don't think there's a trial, I don't think.
There is somewhat of a kangaroo trial where they get restitution until they're 20 years old and they get to be on probation. I mean, that kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I know that there's trial dates set. They had a pre-trial where some guy was like, just like you, Dave. Swear to God, this guy never looked at me once. I sat that camera right there just like this, like you and I are talking. He didn't look over this way once, and I said something to him. It was only one guy.
The prosecutor, your prosecutor you're talking about?
Yeah. It was a pre-trial for the passenger. But yeah, he told me that. But let me get back to Chris for a second, tell you a little facet of this story. Yeah. So it bothered me for 5 days. I'm like, intent. You can't prove intent. Well, how do you prove intent when you don't really know what happened? Well, okay, I know my son was attached to a car for 855 feet for 32 seconds because I took my car, drove it as fast as I could down this lane that weaved and winded and turned out to the right. And it took me 32 seconds to do it as fast as I possibly could. And I was over 45 miles an hour by the time I was done. So I got to thinking about it. I was like, what does every 10-year-old know? You know what every 10-year-old knows about cell phones? If you throw a cell phone out the window at 45 miles an hour onto the concrete, what's going to happen?
Just break, right? I mean, it'll shatter.
Shatter and break.
Yeah.
So when you talk about intent, it took me 5 days to think of that. And I'm not an attorney, but it kind of says it doesn't matter what the scenario was. It doesn't matter how they did it, how they grabbed him, how the window was up, or any of that stuff. It makes no difference. When you tell me as a grown man that its job is to prosecute people for a living, that you can't come up with an analogy as simple as that to describe intent, you just don't really care about my son.
Did he even ask you many situations? I know some good prosecutors, and they would come to the family and say, okay, Dad, what would you like to have happen? Did he never came to you and asked you?
Never contacted me once. Acted like I knew all of this stuff. Like he was very standoffish. Like I should have known they were, like I would have done some research in 14 days to find out that no, I haven't done anything. I mean, I can't even tell you the charges because the charges to me mean nothing. I mean, he's already told me that they're not going to do any time and there's no possibility of it unless they charge them as adults. Now he can charge them as adults. Dana Nessel can make him charge them as adults, which is the her process, whatever her name, whatever she is to the state. She's state prosecutor.
Yeah, good luck with that though. I won't say anything else with that.
Right. Okay.
I worked in Flint, Michigan, where some say screwed up the whole. Anyway, someone just said on the comments, it's intent partially because they didn't go back. I mean, that right there,
they were charged with that. But what they also did was premeditated it as well, because they stole the vape pen the day before. They went back with the defective vape pen the next day and knew that they were defrauding again. But see, the way that the prosecutor and the police, explained it to me, which kind of made sense, to be honest with you, was there were minor charges versus the more important ones, which are fleeing the scene of a crime, creating serious bodily injury, using an automobile, and these different things. I know the driver was charged with 5 things. The other strange thing about this story is that these gentlemen were, I call most people gentlemen because I think about them that way. These savage ass bullies, whatever the hell you want to refer to them at. I'm usually not calling people names, so I'm not used to that vocabulary. So the passenger of the automobile was a 2012 Chrysler 300. The passenger, which was a 15-year-old, he drove the car 12 miles from his house to pick up his best friend. Then his best friend, for whatever reason, starts driving the car. His best friend is 16. Neither one of them have a driver's license. Okay. So I don't understand, I don't know about you, but if I was stealing my mom's or my sister's car, I probably wouldn't let you drive it if you and I were going to do whatever it is we do all day.
No. Wow.
Go ahead.
Their parents, I'm sure their family, their parents haven't reached out to you at all?
No, definitely not.
Let me ask, a lot of people in the chat are asking, they're really concerned. What is the progress of your son? That is your son sitting back there in the hospital bed in a coma. What is the progress? How's he doing? What do they expect?
So expectations, we did not want to ask about that. What we were told 7 days after he was in the hospital that we could pull the plug. And because he probably wasn't going to be himself again. About 7 days after that, there was no plug to pull. So, we don't have a plug to pull. He's, physically, he's healing from his wounds. Psychologically, he's had part of his scalp removed to relieve the pressure off of his brain. His brain is still swollen after 69 days. What they do is they put these metal screw, they call them bolts, in their head, and they measure the distance between the 2 bolts. And when his head was, I guess, I don't know how to describe it to you or metaphorically put it to you, but his head was like this, and now it's like this, so it was rather large, and we didn't post any of them pictures, of nobody wants to see that. I know me as looking at people, accident victims, you don't want to see what a person looks like when they're first brought in, but physically he is healing, and
breathing on his own,
the challenge.
Or he's breathing on his own?
Yeah, he breathes on his own. They didn't think he was going to be off the ventilator, but he is off the ventilator. He has a tracheotomy or trach that allows him to cough and stuff like that. He doesn't swallow. He eats through a tube. By the way, you guys might want. He is 6'2", 170 pounds. He's a very athletic kid. Did not play any sports whatsoever, but he had no interest in that. But athletic kid, and that's probably why he was sticking up for his friends, because he's bigger. He was probably bigger than these guys. He probably yelled at him, but he wasn't ever an aggressive person. He was a kind guy, just at least I never, he tried to get aggressive with me. I could grab him and beat his ass. I think that's how it works around my house. I don't care that he's bigger than me or not. I'm still his dad, so that's the way life is.
Lots of people are commenting. They're going to pray.
Hey, that's what we need.
Amen. And how can people help? Is there a GoFund, or because medical bills have to be, out of this world and
astronomical.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to sell a false hope. We actually have the black card of insurance, you know, I mean, American Express black card. It's an interesting story. 2 weeks before, I had bought my wife a BMW. It was a 2006. I paid $1,600 for it, but my show is about automobiles, so we fixed the BMW for her. At first, I bought it. Me and Colin actually bought it in November of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, we bought it last November, and I told her, babe, I'm fixing this for you on Valentine's Day. You're gonna have your BMW. It's an all-wheel drive 5 Series 2006. Well, that came and went, but luckily I didn't have to buy any Valentine's Day gifts. Then Mother's Day started rolling around. I better get this BMW fixed. I didn't get it fixed, but I did get it fixed 4 days after Mother's Day. I don't remember the date of Mother's Day, but this accident happened 2 weeks after Mother's Day, I think.
Wow.
The reason this is important, it's all leading up to how the insurance worked. So I got the car fixed on Thursday night. I gave it to Pat, which is my wife, and she's complaining. We have, because I do a show on cars, we have 15 cars, so we have insurance on cars. They're all junk. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, my wife is telling me, you need to call and get insurance on this BMW. I do not want anything to happen. She's nagging me. Friday, she's texted me, telling me 10 times how much she loves this BMW. Loves this car. Best car she's ever had. It's 2006 with 200,000 miles on it. Best car she's ever had, though. She loves it. She's nagging me about the insurance. Asked me three times on Friday. Asked me another 4 times on Saturday. Finally, I break down and I call up the insurance. We're at a friend's cabin up in the north, having a great weekend, but I'm tired of hearing her complain about it. She don't complain about a lot, but she's getting on her. I call, long story short, you know, it's a 20-minute conversation, and I tell the lady, and this is what my friend said, and I quote, I don't care what you're selling, lady. I'm buying whatever you're selling. And they changed my insurance from limited PIP, a lot of people don't know, to unlimited PIP, which means all of his medical bills are paid for. And on top of that, even though my car was not there, my car insurance pays for his medical bills. Even though, yep, I did not know that. I didn't know that before this.
Even though he wasn't in your car.
Wasn't in my car. My car had nothing to do with it, but your car insurance pays your medical bills. It's very, very important. Very important to this story. Now, my car insurance would go and sue their car insurance. But guess what? You got it. No car insurance. So what does that mean for me?
Wait. They have no car insurance.
They didn't have any car insurance on a limited edition 2012 Chrysler 300 all-wheel drive with a Hemi.
Their parents, their family, whoever their guardians are, nothing.
It was this. I'm going to get to that. I'll tell you about the car here in a minute, but it's very important for everybody watching this to know that your car insurance, if your child's crossing the road and they get hit, your car insurance is the one that paid. Whitmer changed the law. It didn't used to be that way. It got changed to where whatever you have on your insurance, whoever's covered on your insurance, they're the ones that are initially responsible. Now, I would assume my insurance company is going to go after them and sue them.
Yeah.
Now, from my standpoint, here's the bad part. Not that it matters all that much, but from my standpoint, because they didn't have any car insurance, I will get no civil. I will not get any kind of money or anything. He won't get any money. We won't get any money for pain and suffering.
You could probably sue them, but it doesn't sound like they're the most upstanding people. And
you got it. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, we got an attorney and all that stuff. So, don't ask. Not you.
So,
I mean, whoever's watching.
Yeah. Okay. So can people donate, or if they still want?
Absolutely.
How can they do that?
It's called, I don't know the exact link, but if you look up Colin Rogers recovery for Colin Rogers on GoFundMe.
I'm going to do that right now.
You typing?
Yep, I'm typing, and I'm going to put a link to that.
Hey man, I appreciate it.
I found it right here. Robbed and dragged, ran over recovery for Colin. I'm going to put a link in the chat, and when I post it on YouTube in a day, I'm going to put it there as well. Let me put the link here. Okay, I got the link out there as well. So
hey, bro, I appreciate that. But the money is important. I mean, we need the money for a different, I mean, not because we're only using the money that we get from this for his needs or for it. A lot of our cause is based around getting new legislation, obviously going to be called Collins Law, that holds parents financially responsible for their children's actions. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the car and what the scenario was.
Yeah.
The car was owned by the sister of the passenger. Okay. I wish I could use their names, but even though their names are out there, it's technically illegal. Don't ask me to confirm if the names are out there. I will just tell you this.
And I know they would probably sue me too. They'd come after and sue me if I put names up there.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about anybody's names, period.
Yeah,
but
I'd like to, but
yeah, we all would. But I will say this: I am not the type of person that's going to let somebody's name be out there that is not associated with this. I don't think anybody would. Okay, I'd be a terrible human being if I did that. So anyways, so it's owned by the sister and the mother of the passenger. Now, this is where your bleeding hearts are going to come out. She passed away in 2021. I don't know what from. Okay. She passed away. The next month after she passed away, this car was purchased by his sister. Now, I don't know the scenario, but I do know. I don't know if I know that they said that they took the car without permission, but apparently they must have took this car quite a bit without permission. And they have a legal term for that, and it's called it's something. It starts with an E, and it's a legal term when you continuously allow somebody to do something without stopping them. Okay. You are saying it's okay. So if my son constantly took my car and he did it for 27 days, after a while, you're a bad kid. Don't do that. Type stuff. But he would
enabling them for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a legal term for it.
Okay.
And the parents, obviously, or the sister, because I know he's survived by his dad, he's survived by another brother, and obviously his sister. Somebody enabled this young man to continuously do this, because this was not the first time that this happened.
Implied permission. Someone wrote in the chat.
Yes.
Implied permission.
It's actually not permission, but it is implied.
Yeah.
It is permit. I mean, that's it. Yep. They're right.
So in Michigan right now, I know it's not the same case, but the Oxford High School shooting, the parents are going to be on trial for that. And it went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court in Michigan said, no, they can go to trial. Mm-hmm. So I guess you're right that parents as of now cannot be held liable, or is that like a shaky ground? There is no law right now.
Yeah, they can be held liable. And as far as I'm concerned, I think it seems fair. I mean, if you and I take the time to raise our children correctly, I mean, heaven forbid anything like this happens, but you're not going to see that build up of situation where, like, that was one mistake. I'm sorry he made that mistake. But if you constantly allow that, you need to be held financially responsible for that. Should
they be held criminally responsible?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
I don't know what I think you have to, whenever you're trying to change laws and stuff, you have to start as small as possible.
You're right.
And do something that seems reasonable. If in the future they decided to criminally hold people liable, I honestly think in the Oxford shooting, if we have the facts correct, I kind of think that there's that them parents probably should be, if the facts are correct. We don't know.
Yeah. And I've covered that a lot. If the facts are accurate, those parents, from what I've heard, some would
facilitated that
are
100%.
horrible human beings.
Yes.
So, okay. So I put the link. Some people are sharing it out on their Facebook page. So hopefully that helps.
We appreciate it so much, brother.
So as a dad, and how old is he again?
He just turned 18. He was in a coma when he was 18. He turned 18 July 5th.
Okay, so your son is back there right now in the hospital room in a coma. You're talking to me. How are you able to keep going? What's keeping you, motivated without breaking down? And I'm sure you have before.
No, I do all the time.
What's keeping you so strong?
Everybody, honestly, the people the connections that I've made with people through this, I would trade them all, and they all know that. I would trade them for him to not have this happen. But the people, probably that, and I'm a man. We delve into our work. If I sit here in this room and I look in his eyes for 2 minutes, I'm shambles. You can't talk to me. It's like my old videos. Like there's some old videos from when this first happened. I numbered them. And you can see like in the first 6 videos, I think I cry. I'm bawling, and I can hardly keep my crap together.
I want to ask you something. I worked in TV news for 25 years. I've done so many stories on tragedies like this, and it's made me realize life is so damn precious. And everyone always says that, but people watching right now, they should realize that anything can happen in a blink of an eye. It's sad. I mean, you never know. You didn't know you would be in this situation.
No, and I didn't know that I was going to be an activist either. I do a lot of things. I'm good at a lot of things. I'm not really great at any one thing, but God, my good is probably better than most people's best, but I probably, I'd say I wore 10 to 15 different hats. I'm an engineer, machinist, fabricator, inventor, obviously social media influencer of some sort, creator, editor, motivational speaker, you name it. And now one thing I would have guaranteed you before this, I would never have said I was going to be an activist of any kind. And I'm not even that good at it, but I am I am somewhat of a good organizer of people. Luckily, the right people will find you when you're in this position. They will help you, guide you. They will give you suggestions and stuff. But as a dad, I'm doing this for my son, but I'm also doing it for everybody else's kids too. I realize I can't change the past, but I can fix the future. I know that. But because no matter what I do, it's not going to help him in his situation, no matter what. I'm not talking about his medical part. I'm talking about criminally, any of this stuff, unless Chris decides that he's going to charge these kids as they should be charged.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, because there's a lot of people still watching now who said they were going to call the prosecutor's office or send an email. I'm sure that
has happened hundreds, if not thousands of times. Well, I think we need to focus on legislators now, because we have done I don't know how many times Chris has been, but he doesn't care. This guy has never once called me. Literally not reached out to me at all. But I think we do need to focus on Nessel, focus on legislators that, people that write laws that are affecting people like me that have never had these effects in their lives. They have no idea how they make me feel like a criminal. I can't say these people's names. I can't share the obituary. I can't go over to their house and say, hey, they don't come and say they're sorry to me. The police don't talk to me. They won't give me back my FOIAs. You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous.
No, it's sad. The whole thing's sad. And it's not that I have let me say this. I don't have a bad thing about the police. I'm not mad at the police. I understand it's a very gray line. And what I'm doing is extremely unusual, to say the least. I don't think anybody's ever done what I did. And I didn't even know why I started doing that.
Well, if more people did that, maybe it would be a good thing, because our society, it seems like the victims are treated.
I'll tell you what happened.
It's like it's reversed now. It's weird. We're living in a bizarro world.
I wrote a show about this. It's called when the victimizers become the victims, because often victimizers become victims, and it's such a bunch of shit. I mean, sorry to swear.
No, it makes no sense whatsoever. And then, I mean, across the country, this is happening. But if I'm a prosecutor, I would at least reach out to you as a human being and say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You know, I'm going to try my best to." But it doesn't. Wow, it just doesn't.
The police did. There was a really good sergeant that was first on there. The sergeant now, Chris Hines, or Andy Hines is his name, or the detective. Not a bad guy or nothing. None of these people are bad people. I have a lot of respect for the police, but my opinion of the police definitely changed. 47 years, my brother's in law enforcement, but my opinion of what the police, I don't know about their investigation because of the trial, but our justice system is a joke. I mean, and I can say it's a joke, but it doesn't mean anything, but to let this kid almost get killed, and then you say these kids just went back to school in his school. He can't go to school, but if he could go to school, they would be there right there with him.
And you're now sitting in a hospital bed with Colin behind you in a coma, while the people who are accused of doing this are back in school.
Exactly. It's just it's insanity, brother. It really is.
So do we know what's the process of the I don't know if I call it a court. Do we even know like when?
Yeah, they've got they'll get trials. I don't know if they pled not guilty. They supply you with what's called a victim's advocate. But I asked her about the FOIAs. I asked her about the police report. I can't do that. I told her that SEMA, that I go to SEMA. I don't know that I'm going to SEMA, but SEMA is November 1st in Las Vegas. If Colin's in this state, I'm not going to SEMA. But if Colin's possibly recovering, I might would go, because it's I don't know what you guys have in media or on television, but it's the one thing you go to every year under any circumstance if you're in an automotive industry.
Yeah.
So, but their trial is 4 days before that. So, and there's no way I'm missing that. I don't care. I'll miss SEMA, but no way I'm missing that.
Yeah, not at all. Okay, well, people, we're going to pray. I'm going to put that link out there with the GoFundMe. Because
do you mind if I give a little plug to our Facebook group?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you had one. What is that?
Yeah, it's called Colin Crew Victims of Bullies.
Okay.
And it's something I wrote it, but I write a lot of stuff, so I forget all the stuff that I write. Yeah, and it's called Colin Crew Victims of Bullies. We started it 5 days ago. We've got I think we got about 12 or 1,300 followers. So we did really well in a week. And all we're looking for is support. We're not looking for monetary support. Obviously there's going to be a point where every once in a while we're going to ask for monetary support. But it's only what people can do. Mostly we need an army of people to get legislation and laws changed. And I ask nothing more than people to help us with that than anything. Medically speaking, Colin is taken care of.
He's turning his head right now and moving his head towards you.
Oh, hey, buddy. Yeah, he's probably he doesn't never do that. He can probably hear me talking. He's never done that before. So you guys got that scoop, and you got to see that. I've never seen him do that.
So he is in a coma, and you've been here throughout, and it's been now 69 days, and we were just live, and literally he just turned his head.
Yeah, that's cool.
So is it little things like that do give you hope? The little things you see?
Yeah, absolutely. They add up. I mean, we all know nickels and dimes add up to dollars. So, and it's the same thing at anybody watching this. If you're poor, think about it this way. You have something that every single rich person wants, and that's time. Rich people want more time. Poor people want more money. That's all it is. And if you're not using your time to make money, then you're always going to be poor.
Amen. And I'm going to put the word out, and hopefully justice can be served. and the prayers can be answered, and he can be up walking around and on his own YouTube channel again.
Yes, absolutely. Dave, I appreciate you so much. I give you the old fist bump, brother.
I'm going to put that Facebook group. I have 134,000 on my Facebook. I'm going to post it out and ask people to join. So please keep me updated, because I got a lot of people praying, and I'll send you that link later tonight for the download.
Yep. If you have any questions or you ever want to talk again, I'm happy to. I appreciate your time. I really, really do, man.
Okay. Amen. Tell the family.
Hey, man, do not forget to say that you've seen that. I'm telling you right now, that's a big deal. I can't wait. I need to have that video so I can share it tonight.
I'm going to post that in just a little bit, but I'm going to give you the
post that one first, because that's amazing.
I'm going to put that up. That's amazing. Wow. Okay.
That is cool, dude. He does. He's weaker on his right side, so he moves his head about 5 degrees, right? Mm-hmm. That's what he's been for like the last 3 weeks. He only moves this far. And then earlier this week, he moved his head once this way, a little bit. He's never moved his head like that. So that's sick.
We're praying. We're praying.
God, it might be all the people you have watching this, brother. It really might.
I don't know. Well, I'm going to send it
in my mouth for a long time, but he's used to this. I lecture him so much. That's why he's the way he is. Because all I do is lecture him and explain to him how things are going to work, how people are going to treat you. They don't care. I'm like, people care about them. They don't care about you. Only you care about you. But we have to, we still have to blah, blah, blah. I lecture these kids. My kids have all been lectured. They're great, very well-rounded, even people. We're all a little bit crazy, though.
We all are. I am going to have him on my show when he recovers, and I would love to talk to him. He is going to be a motivational speaker if he wants to. He could be.
You know what? 87,000 followers. No one at school knew. He never told them.
Really?
He did not. He would, honestly, he would hate me for this. I mean, he would hate it that I did this. He would understand psychologically why I did it.
Yeah.
But he would not like what I'm doing. I'm certain of that. And that's probably why he moved his head. I'm surprised. Like, there's this little monitor up here that tells you how his breathing and stuff's going.
Yeah.
I don't normally talk this loud when I'm in here. But I'm certain that's why he moved his head. So he's like, I got to get him to stop. My dad's got to shut up. I'm tired of him talking about me.
God is good. Well, I'm going to let you go spend some time, and I will send all that to you in just a little bit.
Thanks, brother. God bless y'all. Thank you so much for joining. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Wow. Great. A man right there. And just wow. Wow. Colin, his son, we were just talking. He's in a coma, and he moves his head to the other side of the bed, and his dad didn't notice. And I was able to tell his dad, look what just happened. God is good, everyone. And if you don't believe in God, that's on you. But I do. And I'm going to shout it from the rooftops. And I could care less what anyone says. God is good. God is here. We're here for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. I don't know what or why, but it is. Wow. Okay, everyone. Well, I really appreciate all of you joining us tonight. I do want to, hey, MS Warrior. What's up, MS Warrior? I think I called you MS Warrior last time. It's MS Warrior. I do want to talk about something real quick. I did a story earlier today, and I want to get into it because I promised I would do this, and I'm only take a couple minutes. Only a couple minutes on this, but the situation in Maui. What happened there is utterly ridiculous with the government and the officials in Maui. I'm going to bring up my story here on the screen, And let me show this to you. Take a look right here. So this was a conspiracy theory a couple days ago. Guess what? It's true. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. The Associated Press, I give them a lot of grief at times about how they do not do their job. But the Associated Press, they did do a good, thorough investigation, and they have found that the Maui police in Maui, in Luhana, in this town, they barricaded the exits, forcing people into the deadly flames. So basically, people were burned to death in their vehicles instead of being allowed to escape the town. Those who did go around the barricades, they survived. Those who didn't, they died. They were burned alive. So the next time you hear someone say conspiracy theory is just, BS, it might be true. Like this one. There are some conspiracy theories and things that are utterly ridiculous, but sometimes there's truth to them. This right here. So why did they barricade the roads? Why did they do that? They are saying it's because there were down power lines and they were worried that people would be electrocuted leaving the area. And that is true. There were down power lines. But if it was me, I think I would be willing to risk driving over them if it meant being burned alive in a fire. That's just me. So anyway, a good quote on the screen right there from Bondy. Bondy is not a journalist. She can say whatever she wants. She's free to give her opinion. So Bondy says, so they can barricade our citizens into a deadly fire, but cannot barricade our borders. What do you think about that? Bondy, everyone, speaking out. She's a regular citizen. She's allowed to give her opinion. I'm allowed to give my opinion too, but I just do not give it as much because I am a journalist. But I will say what happened here in Maui is just utterly horrible. And this stuff cannot happen. And these families, nothing can bring back their loved ones. So this story is on my website, davebondydigital.com. I posted it on Locals earlier today. And I do give the Associated Press some credit, some good reporting on this. They do not usually do good reporting, but in this instance, they actually did. So I give them credit on that. So thank you, everyone, for joining me. I really appreciate it. The government's doing not a damn thing about it. The government's not doing a damn thing. The government's trying to cover it up. Why would you expect the government to do anything about it? The government is trying to cover it up. For those of you who don't realize, the government is all about covering things up. I worked in media for 25 years, and a week didn't go by when a school district or a governmental agency did not try to cover up something. And I'm going to be letting everyone know about all of this that's happening. That's why I need more people to join Locals. I know I keep harping on this, but if I can get 2,000 paid supporters on Locals, Katie Bondy says we will get into an RV and travel the country and cover the news and go to your town. Because I think we're doing something different that the mainstream media is not doing. I'm getting attacked by a lot of people on social media not happy with what I'm doing. To hell with them. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Okay, everyone. I appreciate you all for watching. And I do need your help. All of you who are watching right now. I put a link on the screen. What I need you to do, and I say this every single time, copy that link that you see on the screen right there. Copy that link, post it on your Facebook page, on your Twitter, and when you post it, write a sentence as to why people should join Locals and follow me. If you have friends who you think would like watching, text them, send them a text message, send them a Facebook message with that link, and write a little sentence as to why they should join and support this community, because we are honestly a community. We are all about each other. I work for all of you. I work for all of you, not the haters. The haters can go to hell. Okay, so there you go. That's my spiel. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you can go out ahead and share this link, that link out. And once again, prayers for Colin. And that's it. I will see you on Sunday. Not sure exactly who I'm going to have on the show on Sunday. I have several choices. It is going back to school, so I might have, I'm looking into having a psychologist to talk about going back to school, because there's a lot of issues that kids are going to have to deal with when they go back to school. And I'm going to want to dig into a lot of that, because going back to school is not easy for the parents and everyone else. Maybe I will be on Sunday, someone said. Maybe you'll be what? On my show? Oh, Katie Bondy might be on the show on Sunday. She likes going behind the paywall, because that way she knows that all of you people are really good people, and there's no trolls or there's no crazy people here. That's another good thing about Locals. There's normal people who are not trying to bait people into an argument or something, you know? Okay, I'm going to go cut this video up. The moment when he turned his head, I'm going to start editing that right now. I'm going to put that on all of my social media platforms. And I am going to, in a couple days, put this out there for everyone. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Prayers to Colin, his family, and amen. We're in this together. We're going to make it happen. Have a good night, everybody.